Homework 9, Compound Interest, video number 1. In the previous series of videos, we looked at simple interest and ways that we could use it to calculate interest earned, future value of an investment. We could even calculate the principal needed up front or the interest rate needed to achieve a certain goal. But in this section, we're going to make a transition to something called compound interest, but I want to kind of attack it intuitively or instinctively, if you will. So let's start with a simple interest problem. What is the future value of a $10,000 investment invested for 1 year at 6% simple interest? Well, this is pretty straightforward. Well, if we're going to find future value, we first need to find the interest that we're going to earn. And the formula for simple interest was just principal times interest rate times time in years. Our principal is $10,000, so we're going to start with $10,000. Our interest rate is 6%, but remember, you don't do math with percents. You describe things with percents. You do math with decimals. So do you remember how to convert 6% to a decimal? Or in general, how to convert any percent to a decimal? Just find the percent's previously existing decimal place and move it 2 places to the left. So as a decimal, our interest rate is 0.06. And t, of course, is time in years, so 1 year. Well, this is pretty easy to multiply. I don't need a calculator. 1 times anything is itself. And multiplying a number by 10,000 will move the decimal to the right 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places. So 1, 2, and then 2 more zeros would make 4 decimal places. So after a year, we earned $600 simple interest. Now be careful. The question actually asked for the future value. On these homework problems, always make sure you know what it is they are asking for and don't stop until you have it. Future value, which is represented by a capital A, not my decision, I would use FV, but future value is just the principal that you started with plus the interest that you earned. So we started with 10,000 and we earned 600. So our future value is 10,600. And that would be the answer to this question. However, what if we did something besides just simple interest? Simple interest is basically saying, I'm going to calculate your interest and at the end I'll give it to you. But what if instead of waiting until the end of an investment, we pause the clock part of the way in, calculate the interest that's been earned up to that point, add it onto the principal, and then resume the investment. For example, what if in this situation where we invested $10,000 for 1 year at 6% simple interest, what if after each quarter, and for those who aren't familiar, a quarter is 1/4 of a year or 3 months. What if after each quarter we calculated interest and add it to the principal? Well, let's think about it. After the first quarter, to calculate the interest, we start with $10,000. Our interest rate is still 6%, so 0.06. But now I'm not going to multiply by 1 year because I'm stopping the investment after 3 months. And remember, to turn months into years, you just divide by 12. 3 divided by 12 is 0.25. And if you multiply all that together, you will get 150. I know we got more interest over there, but that was after 1 year. This is after 3 months. Which means that the future value of our investment after just 3 months is the $10,000 that we started with, plus the $150 that we just earned over that 3 months, for a total of $10,150. But now, let's take that $10,150 and reinvest it right now. So back into the bank it goes, or wherever it goes. And let's see what happens after the second quarter. Now, after the first quarter, the principal has changed. I used to have $10,000. Now I have $10,150. So when we calculate the interest after the second quarter, we don't use 10,000, we use 10,150. Our interest rate is still 6%, but what's our time going to be? Now you might be thinking it's going to be 0.5 because after the second quarter we've gone half a year. However, remember, we restarted the investment clock after this first quarter. It's like we sunk our $10,000 in, started a stopwatch, and after 3 months we stopped it, calculated the interest and added it. Now we're going to do it again. Let's invest this money, restart the stopwatch for another 3 months. So after 3 months, another 3 months, or 0.25 years, let's see how much interest we have now. $10,150 times 0.06 times 0.25 is $152.25. So let's see how much money we have now. Our future value, which is actually the current value at this point. At the beginning of the second quarter, we started with $10,150. And now we just earned an extra $152.25. And so now our investment is worth $10,302.25. We're going to do this until we go through all 4 quarters. I'll go through it a little more quickly in the next 2. So after the third quarter, well, let's think about what happens at the beginning of the third quarter. After the second quarter ended, we had $10,302.25. So that's our new principal, $10,302.25. Our interest rate is still 6%, and we're still investing it for another quarter of a year. Remember, we restarted the investment clock at the end of the second quarter. So what does this equal? Let's see. Oops. Push the buttons wrong. Doesn't matter how good you are, we're all human. All right, now this one doesn't come out to be a nice number rounded to the nearest cent, so I'm going to have to round it off. To the nearest cent, the interest we earned during the third quarter is $154.53, which means that our future value after the third quarter is going to be the principal that we started with, plus our new interest. So $10,302.25 plus $154.53 is $10,456.78. But we still have another quarter to go, and I'm running out of board space, so I'm going to have to be frugal. So after the fourth quarter, sounds like we're watching a football game. You know, sports, those things that we used to have. After the fourth quarter, our interest is now the new principal. We now have $10,456.78. Our interest rate is still 6%, and we're still investing it for another quarter of a year. And again, the reason this is just 0.25 instead of 1 for the whole year is after the third quarter, we stopped the investment clock, calculated our interest, put it back in the bank, and started the clock over again for 1 more quarter. And if you multiply all that, you get $156.85 to the nearest cent. And one thing you'll notice is the interest that we're earning each 3 months is steadily getting larger and larger, which makes sense because after 3 months, we're increasing the amount of money that we're investing. Excuse me. So our future value is going to be the $10,456.78 that we just started with at the beginning of the third quarter, plus the $156.85 interest we earned after the fourth quarter, for a grand total of $10,613.63. So what does all this mean? This means if we wait until the end to calculate interest, we get less than if we pause somewhere between the beginning and the end of the investment, calculate the interest just for that portion of time, add it onto the principal to get a new principal, and repeat that until we get to the end. Interest, new principal. More interest, more principal. Even more interest, and an even larger principal. One more injection of interest, and then we're done. And we ended up making about $13.63 more than if we just waited until the end. And you might be thinking, it's only $13, and you would be correct. But if instead of 10,000s for 10 million, now we're talking about $13,000. That's nice, even if you have a million. So what we just did over here is called compound interest. Compound interest is where you pause between the beginning and the end of an investment, calculate the interest you've earned at that point, add it onto the principal, and then resume the investment. The consequence of it is you get smaller chunks more often, but those chunks start getting larger because our principal keeps getting larger. If we had not tacked this interest onto the principal, then this would have been $150 each time, and we would have ended up with the same amount. Now, the bad news is it's a little convoluted to calculate compound interest this way. The good news is there's a formula that will do it for us in one equation, and I'll show you that formula in the next video.